Patrick Mahomes won 15 games, and somehow people were disappointed. Think about how ridiculous that sounds. 15 wins, another playoff run, another season that almost every quarterback in football would gladly trade careers for. Yet when the season ended, people weren't talking about how remarkable it was. They were talking about what felt missing, the magic, the dominance, the inevitability. Because something strange has happened to Patrick Mahomes. The quarterback football spent years searching for has become the quarterback many people are desperate to move on from. Not because he's failing, because he's been successful for so long that success no longer surprises anyone. And that may be the cruelest thing that can happen to greatness. Because Patrick Mahomes didn't just become the face of football, he became the standard. And standards don't get celebrated. Standards get expected. Which raises a fascinating question. What happens when a player becomes so extraordinary that extraordinary stops feeling extraordinary? Because this story isn't really about touchdowns, or championships, or MVP awards. It's about the price of becoming exactly what everyone wanted you to be. Before the championships, before the MVPs, before the dynasty, Patrick Mahomes was a gamble. When he entered the NFL, many people weren't sure he would work. His mechanics looked unusual. His style looked reckless. His game looked chaotic. Football had always taught quarterbacks to stay within the structure. Mahomes looked like he was trying to escape it. Some saw genius. Others saw disaster waiting to happen, and that's what made him exciting. Nobody knew what he would become. Every game felt like an experiment. Every throw felt impossible. Every success felt surprising. Football loves surprises, at least in the beginning. Then the impossible started happening too often. The impossible throw became normal. The miraculous comeback became routine. The playoff run became expected. And slowly, almost without anyone noticing, something changed. The same things that once made Patrick Mahomes fascinating stopped shocking people. Not because they weren't impressive, because they happened too often. That's the paradox of greatness. The better you become, the harder it becomes to amaze anyone. Think about how differently Mahomes is judged. Most quarterbacks win playoff games and people celebrate. Mahomes loses one and people ask what's wrong. Most quarterbacks reach conference championships and people build legacies. Mahomes reaches one and people shrug. Most quarterbacks spend careers trying to become elite. Mahomes gets criticized for not looking elite enough every single week. No player in football faces those expectations because no player created them. Patrick Mahomes did. Every impossible comeback, every championship run, every incredible season raised the bar higher, until eventually the standard became impossible. And that's where every dynasty story changes. The world loves greatness when it's rising. The world gets uncomfortable when greatness stays. Because sports fans love uncertainty. They love possibility. They love believing someone new can take over. What they don't love is feeling like they've already seen the ending. And for years, Patrick Mahomes kept ruining the suspense. Different opponents, different contenders, different predictions, same quarterback standing at the end. Eventually, admiration turns into fatigue. Not because people hate greatness, because greatness became predictable. That's why the reaction to Mahomes feels so different now. The player hasn't changed nearly as much as the audience has. The same confidence people once loved now feels expected. The same brilliance people once celebrated now feels routine. The same playoff runs that once felt historic now feel mandatory. And that's the burden of becoming the standard. You stop getting credit for what everyone else gets praised for. You only get noticed when something goes wrong. Imagine being so successful that excellence becomes disappointing. That's the reality Patrick Mahomes lives in. But maybe football isn't begging for Patrick Mahomes to fail. Maybe football is begging to be surprised again. Because surprise is exciting. Surprise creates legends. Surprise creates memories. And Patrick Mahomes has a problem. He can never surprise the world the way he once did. The first impossible throw only happens once. The first MVP only happens once. The first championship only happens once. After that, people expect it. And expectations are heavier than doubt, because doubt can be defeated. Expectations never disappear. Maybe that's the real price of greatness. Not the pressure, not the criticism, not even the people waiting for you to lose. It's knowing that the same world that once celebrated every step forward eventually treats greatness like an obligation. Patrick Mahomes didn't become football's villain because he failed. He became football's villain because he succeeded too often, because he won too much, because he stayed too long, because he became exactly what football wanted. And now he faces an opponent no defense can stop, a standard so impossible that only one player in football could have created it, Patrick Mahomes himself. And that may be the hardest battle of his career.